Hurry up, 5 minutes. 5 minutos. Esta noche es muy caliente.
Hey, download your TikTok app today so you can have Chinese spyware in your house for free. You go down! Give me money!
Fucking future!
We're talking about a fat ass and everything, yeah.
No, I said loud ass. It's like I took a poop and it was one of those painful ones that brings a tear to your eye. Yeah, it would help. I mean, I've been talking this whole time. It would help if I unmute the microphone. Guys are asking for a lot. Alright. Let's get some non-copyrighted bullshit going. I don't think it exists. Everybody wants to make $1. Nobody remembers where they came from. Everybody's just like, I was born rich. Okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for this thing. Ah, music. What you think rocks? Gonna get some music going? My speaker stopped working too, so if I get notifications, I'm gonna have to notice it at some point. Son of a bitch. Penis. La 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 la. I feel like I should share this with people, but I don't care. If I just read one half a chapter, so be it. Alright, we got the book ready. I was thinking about Irish whiskey, but I don't know, I just don't feel like opening a bottle. We've got Irish whiskey at home, yes we do. Pints. Hi everybody, I'm here. Why does this camera keep on flashing out? It's weird. It's weird. Is that too bright? It's too bright. It's just. There we go. There, that's better. Do I do my 111 again? We're just gonna go with something we tried and true. That 111 bourbon ain't no joke. Or we could just go to an old standby. Bite the bullet. I think that's what we'll do. By we, I mean me. It's just a remote, it's fine. Did you know there are secret menus in Roku devices? That's a good start. Can't even see him where I put him up. Put him up, put him up. Just gonna sit here and drink whiskey in front of you and stare at you uncomfortably. Are you uncomfortable yet? Should be. Well, that's a thing. It's rubbing alcohol with a hint of all kinds of other shit. It's been a while. What you think, dog? Are you judging me? Dog's judging me over here. She's pretending to sleep, but meanwhile she's actually judging. Ain't that right, Rox? Knew it. My Pokemon has betrayed me. Oh, I just said we're gonna bite the bullet. Ugh. The bullet rye. In my Super Mario cup. So there's that. Do I need more light? I think I might need more light. I mean, I don't even know why I'm wearing a baseball cap. I'm not playing baseball. I did just wash my hair. This is my wave cap. This is white people wave cap right here. You think my hair naturally wants to sit back? No, it wants to just be all over the place. Like a nest of daddy long legs. Just goes wherever and does whatever. Unacceptable if you ask me. Just like everything else on the face of the planet, it should be beaten down and made to serve the will of man. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. We're starting early, aren't we? Jesus. Anyways, welcome to the stream, people. here we are for another lovely night of books and bourbon. I don't even remember what I put the title up as. True crime. Oh, true crime time. Yeah, check your watch, cause it's true crime time. Yeah, we're reading the killer book of true crime. Bam! Ba, 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 ba. Oh, last night, I started watching that Tacoma FD. My God, is it a bad show? Like, they're trying so hard to be Reno 911, just with fire department instead of police department, and, you know, it doesn't have that behind-the-scenes cop-style documentary. It was more like a sitcom, but it fails at both, and for some reason, I just kept on playing it. It was mostly background noise, but still. I don't mind the sound of rain. Some people love it. I don't mind it until I'm trying to go to sleep. Then it's just like, oh my God, this makes me need to piss. I don't like the feeling of needing to go to the bathroom while trying to sleep. Like, new. Some of y'all may be into that weird shit. Nah, miss me with that nonsense, son. Miss me with it. Not digging it. Not digging it at all. You know, I've been hounding my barber to tune in, watch the show, and she's like, I was on the other day, and I'm like, you didn't say hi? She's like, oh, can't you see? I'm like, I'm looking at a little blue light. It may look like I'm talking directly to you, but I'm just talking to a stupid little camera. No. I have no way of knowing who's here and who isn't here. No sarcastic RNs here, thank you. But as for the rest of you, hi, you silent wonders. Thanks for tuning in. Mwah. Appreciate you guys. Anyways, welcome to the stream. Are we going to get right into it? Am I going to spam my friends with invites, or we just sit here and stare at you like, yes. What you think we should do, dog? Get a coffee. Get a new spot. Doctor says I need a backiotomy. I damn sure do. Wonder if my back is damaged enough to where it's not going to get worse if I get surgery. That's the last thing I need to do, is be more sedentary because I'm recovering from surgery. You know, you keep on telling myself, oh, we're going to start working out like tomorrow. It's today. We're going to do this because you're not getting any younger and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, I was just like, you know what? Just have another grilled cheese sandwich and shut the hell up. That's easier. We're going to do that. I don't want to... Anyways. Where were we? Chapter 4, Serial Murder. Notable quotable: justice is incidental to law and order. J. Edgar Hoover. What a piece of shit that man was. Personal opinion. Not because of his personal preferences to dress and drag after hours. Nah, just kind of a... whatever. I know the three-letter agencies are listening to me, so... it's like, look, either y'all come and knock or, you know, whatever. I'll be like, warrant, lawyer, bye. Hope you got level 4 plates. What? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just hope you have no plates. There you go. Yo plate. To keep them bowels regular or some bullshit like that, right? Anyways, John Wayne Gacy's incapacitation technique. Yeah, we know. He would pretend to do wrestling maneuvers and put boys in handcuffs. Okay, well. The most dangerous situation for young boys to be in was serial murderer John Wayne Gacy. He murdered at least 21 boys in the Midwest, was at his home, now torn down. It stood at 8213 West Somerdale Avenue in Chicago. Once he got a young boy, usually age 15 or 16, into the house, using one ruse or another, he would incapacitate him by approaching the boy from behind and holding a cloth filled with chloroform over the boy's face. Gacy would then handcuff the boy, and that was it. Or Gacy would produce what he said were toy handcuffs and challenge the boy to put them on and free himself. Of course he couldn't. Then he would proceed to torture him One of his favorite implements being an 8-inch wooden dildo, which was encrusted with blood and feces for more than half its length when police found it. It's a mystery as to why neighbors didn't hear the screams or smell the victims' bodies, most of which Gacy had buried under his house in shallow graves. I mean, he did use quick lye, but yeah, from most of the things I've read about it, the smell was just beyond wretched. I couldn't imagine. My nose is too daggum sensitive. Can't be burying people in my crawl space. A, I don't have a crawl space, and B, you don't shit where you eat, son. Learn something, people. I know it's convenient. Not everybody has a vehicle to transport bodies, but hookers from out of state. Come on, people. Use your heads. I'm just kidding. No, don't kill hookers. They've already had a bad enough run of luck. Anyways, Q&A. What is the homicidal triangle? Does anybody know? I have no idea. Have you guys even heard of the homicidal triangle? It's the acute one. That's the pointiest one. Achoo! You know what? I think I'm going to have another drink after making that statement. I apologize. Then don't be mad at me. Let's see, now that last sip was nice. That was actually kind of sweet. Oh, you know what? That's what it is. I ain't got no backy in my lip right now. Thanks for reminding me, people. We're about to find out about the homicidal triangle in just one moment. But first, a message from our sponsors. Was it a quick word from our sponsors? There you go. A quick word from our sponsors. Hi, me again. I'm the sponsor of this channel. Thanks to lovely viewers like you and your donations, we can keep this thing going. I am so grateful that I do not rely on the income from this stream, because I don't think I would have made it through like the last 5 years, but that's okay. 5 years? Oh no, we've already earned over $1,000 on Twitch during the last 5 years. Ooh, show me the money. It ain't here. Okay. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. I don't want to cry. That's for babies and little girls. I'm neither a baby nor a little girl, and I will continue to live my life by the toxic man codes of the past. That's right. Oh my god, that is nowhere near enough tobacco, but it'll just have to do because it's all I've got here right now. And I will not smoke inside my house. Because, you know, I like the smell of paint. What? Yeah, huffing paint, baby. Are we huffing paint? I don't have a single can of dip nowhere? Really? Well, this is some bullshit, people. Oh man, I haven't eliminated 100,000 dinosaurs. Okay, anyways. Skrrr! And I'm back. Oh, tell me that can's empty too. No? Oh my god, how many half full or half empty cans do I have? Oh, well, thank goodness for the small favors. Just like that's a weird thing about my house. Once something falls to the floor, unless I need it, it stays there indefinitely. Like, yeah, I guess I don't ever need that thing again until I do need it, in which case, okay, I guess we'll go get it. It's unfortunate that I like just buying things instead of doing stuff. Wait, what? What's that even mean? You know. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I think you guys get the gist of it, right? I could be hiring somebody to help me fix up and clean the house, or I could do it myself, but instead I just stick to the standard bullshit that I do all the time, and nothing gets done. I think I've been taking too many of my fuck it all pills. It works too damn good, people. Too damn good. Fuck it all. Fuck it all. It's what's for dinner. Alright, let's find out about the killer triangle or whatever. What was it? Homicidal triangle. Okay, well, at least I got the try part right. The three kinds of aggressive behavior that serial murderers exhibited in childhood are predictions or sociopathic behavior, and homicide. Enuresis, bedwetting, cruelty to animals, and fire setting. I did none of those things. Okay, definitely the bedwetting and the fire setting. And maybe a little bit cruel to animals, but you know, what? No, just, I'm kidding, people. I was totally a bedwetter. What? I'm sorry. Shh. Some psychologists say that when a child exhibits all these behavioral characteristics, they mostly occur in someone, mostly in males, is far more likely to eventually commit homicide than someone without these characteristics. Even if just two of the characteristics are present, it is a dangerous sign. Okay. The backgrounds of a number of serial murderers show extreme cruelty to animals. Oh! That was quite a burp right there. It wasn't a burp really, but... Oh, a bit of fire in my throat right there. Yeah. The backgrounds of a number of serial murderers show extreme cruelty to animals as well as pyromania. For example, Henry Lee Lucas, perhaps the world's worst serial murderer of all, skinned small animals alive when he was 10. Robert Hansen, who killed prostitutes in Alaska, set many fires as a youth in Pocahontas, Iowa. Edmund Kemper, who killed 6 co-eds in Northern California, was also very cruel to animals. The first observers of this triad were D.S. Hellman and N. Blackman in the article Enuresis, Fire Setting and Cruelty to Animals, a triad predictive of adult crime, which appeared in the June 1966 issue of the American Journal of Psychiatry. Many law enforcement personnel feel that these three behavioral activities are very accurate predictors. Shows you what you know. They might have been announcing something, I don't know. The 44 caliber killer. For those who are killers, an examination of their childhoods almost always reveals that their problems stem from something that happened in their youth. Not much is known about the childhood of David Berkowitz, but there are definitely hints that he didn't grow up in a household reminiscent of the Brady Bunch. Shortly after Berkowitz's birth, the waitress and businessmen who were his birth parents put him up for adoption, and he became the son of a childless couple named Nat and Pearl Berkowitz. The family lived in the Bronx Co-op City, a huge cluster of apartment houses where many Bronx residents had moved in the 1960s. Exactly what happened in their apartment is not known, but from it emerged a young boy who had some serious mental maladies, at the center of which was an overriding question: who was he? He developed a variety of phobias and constantly felt rejected and worthless. The death of his adoptive mother when he was 14 seemed to confirm it all. He thought that she died because he wasn't worthwhile. Oh, poor little Berkowitz. I mean, I suppose. That's one way to get away from your kids. Die. Oh. Don't do it, people. I mean, who knows what they're going to resent you for, but... Like, you know, there's differences between feelings of the heart and the ability of the mind to grasp the concept that it's not that at all. But even so, it's hard to argue with feelings even though your brain knows better. Like I said, people, I'm just smart enough to be miserable. Don't worry about it. Okay. As so often happens, when a person feels this way about themselves, Berkowitz started to become what one psychiatrist has called a builder of a fantasy world. This world was not the world of reality where Berkowitz felt worthless, but rather it was one where he was successful and accomplished. It was a world he could bear to live in, where he was handsome, a romantic figure adored by women. It was also a world he controlled. Sometimes Berkowitz could live completely inside this world, but sometimes reality intruded. And then something even scarier began to happen. He started, as psychiatrists reported, to have other fantasies that were hardly of lightness and love. Berkowitz thought that demons were ordering him to kill people, and as time went by, he developed one particular demon, he thought, who took the form of a neighbor's dog named Sam. Berkowitz started to think of himself as son of Sam, a son who would faithfully execute what the demons desired, and the demons were a bloodthirsty pack. By the fall of 1975, when Berkowitz was 21, the demons were controlling him, and on Christmas Eve of that year, he went on his first hunt in an area near Co-op City. His prey was to be young girls. His weapon of choice was a knife, because movies he had seen made it seem like a quick, clean way to kill someone. But that was not to be. He encountered a 15-year-old girl named Michelle Foreman on a bridge near Dreiser Loop that traversed the New York State Thruway. He stabbed her repeatedly, but she didn't die, and she continued to scream. And he finally fled in bewilderment, deciding he must fine-tune his methods. Because he needed a better, easier, and more deadly method, Berkowitz decided he would use a gun. Some months later, he drove to Houston, Texas, and bought a Charter Arms .44 caliber Bulldog, a big, powerful gun that was to become one of the most infamous weapons in New York City history. Q&A. What happened at these locations? Shit, okay. Well, I'm not going to read all these addresses, but the answer is Son of Sam, because, you know, they made the lettering extra small, like you're reading the ingredient list to, you know, the garbage food you're eating. The shootings begin. On July 26, 1976, Donna Lauria, a pretty petite woman of 18, sat in an Oldsmobile with her friend Judy Valenti. The car was parked in front of Donna's apartment building at 2860 Burr Avenue in the Bronx, one of a number of apartment buildings that line the quiet street in the middle-class neighborhood. About 1 a.m., Donna's father, who had been out, returned to the building and spotted Donna and Judy in the car. He suggested that Donna come in soon, and she said she would be right up. Less than a minute later, the two women were distracted by the appearance of a dark-haired man wearing a denim jacket and jeans, carrying a paper bag. They watched as he calmly walked to the passenger side of the car where Donna was sitting. Donna turned to Judy. "What does he want?" Suddenly a pistol emerged from the bag, and the man dropped into a semi-squatting position. The gun held in both hands. He was in the classic combat shooter's pose and fired 5 shots through the passenger window, shattering it and hitting Donna and Lauria with gunfire. Upstairs, her father was startled by the rapid-fire crescendo and thought a car was backfiring. Then he went downstairs to find the horrendous sight of his daughter covered with blood, while Valenti, Lauria's friend, shrieked hysterically. Soon Donna Lauria would be dead, the first victim of the Son of Sam, a name Berkowitz used to identify himself in a letter he sent to New York City detectives some months after the shootings began. Donna Lauria's killing had a calming effect on David's demons, but gradually the demands of the demons in David's head began again. The demons wanted more blood, more shooting, more death. Soon the demands were so strong that Berkowitz, who fought them, could no longer refuse. And that's all because he used to piss the fucking bed. And his mama died when he was 14. Oh, God. On October 23, 1976, Berkowitz went to Queens, again on the hunt. In the Flushing area, Berkowitz spotted a red Ford Galaxy and followed it in the white Ford he drove. Berkowitz saw there were two people in the car, but he couldn't tell if they were male or female. One had long, dark hair, a favorite of the demons. Soon the couple parked in the car near the corner of 33rd Avenue and 159th Street. Berkowitz parked behind them. Inside the car was Carl Denaro, a young man who was soon to enter the Air Force. Driving the car was Rosemary Keenan, 18, whose father was a New York City cop. Berkowitz approached the car, concealing the heavy gun under a denim jacket. He went onto the passenger side of the car and fired 5 times through the window. Denaro was shot in the head, but miraculously, Rosemary Keenan was not hit, and she bolted from the car screaming. Berkowitz watched calmly, admiring the aftermath of his 5-shot assault. Amazingly, Denaro survived, requiring a metal plate in his head to replace the bone fragments blown away in the shooting. Did I say a 44 mag? I mean, point blank 44 mag in the head and the dude's fine? You know what? It says 44. It doesn't say mag, but I'm assuming since it was 44, it was 44 mag. Is there a 44 and a 44 mag? Alright, we're talking about the late 70s here. Maybe. Notice that that dirty hair had a 44 Magnum. It'll blow your head clean off. Or some bullshit like that. Okay. More blood demanded. Less than a month later, the demons in Berkowitz's head were howling for blood again. On the chilly, windy night of November 26, 1976, Berkowitz was back in predatory mode. 2 girls, 16-year-old Donna DeMasi and 18-year-old Joan Lamino, had returned to Queens after seeing a movie in Manhattan. They got off a bus at 262nd Street and Hillside Avenue and started walking home. Joanne had a 12:30 a.m. curfew and it was almost midnight. Ooh, girl, you better hurry. As they walked, they noticed a man starting to follow them. They were worried and walked faster. But by the time they got to 8331 262nd Street, Joanna's home was not in sight. Then they saw him coming toward them, and Joanna searched her bag for keys. The girls were nervous, but the man, dark-haired, stocky, wearing a denim jacket, didn't seem terribly threatening. In the next instant, he was firing at them. He hit them both. Then the man was gone. The girls survived, but Joanne Lamino paid a terrible price. One of the bullets severed her spine, and she was paralyzed from the waist down. No. You know, a lot of these fucking predators, these serial killers and serial murderers and so on and so forth, and mass shooters, they all have like a common thing, and they're all a bunch of cowards. Taking a life is not particularly difficult depending on the tool you use, but it's just, what a coward. Seriously. Anybody just, I'm gonna go murder. Like, you don't see anybody going into, let's say, a gun range to take everybody out, but, you know, I thought it was guns that kill people. Like, go in there with a baseball bat and start clubbing people, because, you know, something with bullshit. Yeah, most of these murdering fucks, they're a bunch of, I mean, tragic childhood aside, they're a bunch of cowardly pussy fucks. No connection. Unfortunately, police did not connect any of the assaults with one shooter, simply because they didn't have any physical evidence that tied the crimes together. These assaults were in the days before computers were in common use, which now help immensely in making connections between apparently unconnected cases. Yeah, but no patterns emerged either. Not really. I mean, this is what, his 3rd set of victims? The next shooting resulted in another death. A young couple, Christine Freund, 26, and John Deal, 32, were engaged to be married. Had gone out to see the movie Rocky. Classic, by the way. They returned to their car, which was parked at Station Plaza on Continental Avenue near Long Island Railroad line in Queens. In fact, they had to walk under a railroad bridge to get to the car, a blue Pontiac Firebird. It was bitterly cold. It was a bitterly cold night, just 5 or 6 degrees above zero, and they had just gotten into the car when out of nowhere shots smashed through the passenger side window. Christine Freund was shot twice in the head and once in the chest, but miraculously, Dia was not hit at all. Someone called 911, but within 4 minutes, the emergency service team was on the scene. But it was too late for Freund. She never regained consciousness, and she died at St. John's Hospital the following morning. Hold up. When was the emergency number 911 first established? It wasn't in the 70s, was it? Whatever. This is how my brain works. It's just like details like this. Like, I don't think they called 911 because I don't think 911 was a thing in 76, was it? Somebody Google that for me, please. I would do it myself, but my devices are currently in use. Panic begins. Around this time, panic set in, at least for the police. Police put out the word across the city to see if there were any similar homicides. It was then that police determined that the separate random shootings were related. A large caliber revolver was involved in them all. Police formed a homicide task force. On March 8, 1977, a little over a month from the time Christine Freund was killed, there was another shooting. Virginia Voskarishian, an honor student at Barnard College, was returning to her home in Queens, walking along Dartmouth Avenue near 71st Street, when she spotted a man coming toward her. No one will know what she thought, but it might have been that she was overdressed for the day. It was unseasonably warm, and she was wearing a ski coat. For his part, Berkowitz had been in the area for the past hour in search of a pretty girl to shoot and kill, as the demons inside ordered him. Inside him ordered, or whatever. A little dyslexia, we're good, right? A little dyslexic. It's because I'm tired to read it, isn't it? Virginia Voskarishian. Jesus, man, that name. What is that? Not an Assyrian? Maybe. Or Serbian? I don't know. It's something Ian. She was slim and pretty. When Berkowitz was within 25 feet of Voskarishian, he pulled out his gun. Instinctively, Virginia pulled up to her face the book she was carrying, so as to shield herself. Berkowitz fired once, the bullet entering Virginia's head above the lip. She fell into the bushes that flanked the road. January 19. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's a good assist there. Appreciate it. Didn't know that. I thought 911 was a relatively more recent thing. I mean, the show Rescue 911 didn't start till the late 80s, right? Yeah, I didn't know we had the emergency number for that long, but apparently we did. Okay. Cool. I stand corrected. That's not something I knew, but now I know. January of 68. Before we lied to the world and landed a man on the moon. Virginia was rushed to St. John's Hospital, but she never regained consciousness. She died at 4 a.m. Her family was heartbroken, not only for their personal loss, but also for the community's loss of Virginia. She had great potential that would never be allowed to flower. Anyways. If the police had any doubts as to whether there was a psycho on the loose in the city, those doubts were erased during the investigation into Virginia Voskarishian's death. A .44 caliber bullet was recovered, and the NYPD ballistics unit matched it up with one of the bullets used to kill Donna Lauria only 6 months earlier. Commissioner Michael Codd called a press conference on March 10, 1977, and announced to the world that a crazy man was on the loose, and women, particularly pretty girls with dark hair, were at risk. Panic spread, then it deepened. The .44 caliber killer was on the front page news, and more shootings and a frightening letter whipped fears into a frenzy. On April 17th, a young couple, Alexander Asau, 20, and Valentina Suriana, 18, were shot dead while parked just a block short of 1950 Hutchinson River Parkway in the Bronx, only 3 blocks from where the killing of Donna Lauria had occurred. The killer was getting more efficient, fewer shots, more deaths. Only 4 shots had been fired this time, 2 into each victim. There was another chilling development with this shooting. Along with the bodies, police found the following letter. Misspellings and other errors have been left as is. Dear Captain Joseph Borelli, I am deeply hurt by your calling me a Weemon hater. I am not. I am a monster. I am the son of Sam. I am a little brat. When Father Sam gets drunk, he gets mean. He beats his family. Sometimes he ties me up to the back of the house. Other times he locks me in the garage. Sam loves to drink blood. Go out and kill, commands Father Sam. Behind our house, some rest. Mostly young, raped and slaughtered, their blood drained, just bones now. Papa Sam keeps me locked in the attic too. I can't get out, but I look out the attic window and watch the world go by. I feel like an outsider. I'm on a different wavelength than everybody else, programmed to kill. However, to stop me, you must kill me. Attention all police. Shoot me first. Shoot to kill. Or else keep out of my way, or you will die. Papa Sam is old now. He needs some blood to preserve his youth. He has had too many heart attacks. Ah, me hoot. It hurts, sonny boy. I miss my pretty princess most of all. She's resting in Our Lady's house, but I'll see her soon. I am the monster, Beelzebub, the chubby behemoth. I love to hunt, prowling the streets, looking for fair game, tasty meat. The Weemon of Queens are prettiest of all. It must be water they drink. Must be the water they drink. I live for the hunt, my life, blood for Papa. Mr. Borelli, sir, I don't want to kill anymore. No, sir, no more, but I must honor thy father. I want to make love to the world. I love people. I don't belong on the earth. Return me to Yahoos. To the people of Queens, I love you, and I want to wish all of you a happy Easter. May God bless you in this life and in the next. I say goodbye and good night. Please let me haunt you with these words. I'll be back, I'll be back. To be interrupted as bang, 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 bang. Ugh. Yours in murder, Mr. Monster. Well, that's a letter. That's weird as shit. But, I mean, I suppose somebody that goes randomly shooting people in the streets of New York is probably not a normal person. Especially one that listens to the neighbor's dog. Sam. That's a bad dog. Not this one. This one's a pretty good dog. She would only recommend I kill something if she could eat it. Right? Right. Man, how do they sleep like that? She's got her back paws like right by her jaw. Anyways. And so the papers had an official name for the killer, the son of Sam. On June 26, 2 months after the killings of Esau and Suriana, the killer struck again, this time shooting Judy Placido, 17, and Salvatore Lupo, 21, who had been to a dance club called Elefas, whose car was parked opposite 4539 211th Street. Ironically, the young couple was talking about the son of Sam and was not concerned when suddenly there was a booming echo inside the car. Almost unbelievably, they survived the shooting. Though Placido was shot in the temple near the spine and in the shoulder, Lupo was hit in the arm. That's terrible irony right there, right? Or is that... I think that's what that... Is that irony? They were talking shit about the dude and he showed up and started blasting. Getting personal. Son of Sam's next foray touched on this author, Tom, personally, and in a chilling way. On July 31st, 1977, my 2 young daughters wanted to go to a teen club in the mall in the town of Huntington, Long Island. Where I lived, I discussed the possible danger of Son of Sam with my wife, Catherine, who was worried that the killer might go there. I poo-pooed her fear, but the end result was that the girls didn't go out. Later, when Son of Sam was captured, it turned out that he had gone to Huntington on July 31st, planning to kill someone, but as reported in Son of Sam by Lawrence D. Klausner, he decided not to do it because the place didn't seem right, his demons demurred. Alright then. Yeah. Small world. In fact, on that night of July 31, he also went to Brooklyn still looking for someone to shoot, and he found them. A young couple, Stacy Moskowitz, a pretty 21-year-old blonde, and her date, 21-year-old Robert Violante. The couple had parked on the Shore Parkway next to a cyclone fence after another very lucky couple had pulled out of the area just moments before. It was 2:35 a.m. when Son of Sam fired 5 shots into the car. The shots caused Robert Violante to go blind. The shots killed Stacy Moskowitz. The shooting of the young couple brought more fear into the city, already near hysteria. The killer had to be found. A break. As often happens in matters of great consequence, the thing that resulted in the capture of Son of Sam was something utterly pedestrian. A traffic ticket. It was fortunate timing because Berkowitz was to report later. He was getting bored with these types of homicides and he wanted to do something a little more dramatic and climactic, a mass murder. In fact, he almost did it. On Saturday, August 6th, Berkowitz decided that he would murder a group of people on a campground in Southampton, Long Island. A camp he knew because he had camped there the year before. The campground was at the peak of its season, loaded with young people. Berkowitz showered, dressed in fresh clothes, and loaded his bulldog and a .45 caliber semi-automatic rifle. Don't you mean carbine? Whatever. It took him 2.5 hours to reach Southampton, but the weather, which had started out fine, changed as he went. Great thunderheads dominated the gray sky, and before long, a few raindrops soon turned into a torrent. The sky shredded with lightning. Dramatic. It got so bad that Berkowitz pulled off to the side of the road to wait out the storm and waited word from his demons. The demons decided that the storm had cleared away too many potential victims. The demons instructed Berkowitz to go home, so home he went. A summer shower had prevented a bloodbath. Well, okay. Alrighty then. Then the demons turned on him in his apartment, which was at 35 Pine Street in Yonkers, a community just north of the Bronx. They ripped at him for not being able to fulfill his mission. They didn't accept rain as an excuse, even though it was they who had ordered him not to complete the mission. Berkowitz's punishment was simple. He had to die. Meanwhile, forces were combining that would result in his capture. The night he killed Stacy Moskowitz and wounded Robert Violante, Berkowitz had parked at 290 Bay 17th. It was a location that was only a block and a half from the scene of the crime. During the investigation into deaths of the young couple, a woman who had been walking her dog said that she had spotted a policeman writing a ticket for a cream-colored parked car. But none of the cops could remember it, and the ticket seemed to have vanished. Then about 2 weeks later, someone found the ticket squirreled away with some others in the back room of the precinct, where it had been issued. The car belonged to David Berkowitz, 35 Pine Street, Yonkers, New York. Some detectives went up there and found his car parked in the street. Looking in it, they also spotted something that electrified them. Sticking out from under a gunny sack was the butt of a machine gun. They also saw 2 letters, and the handwriting resembled the handwriting of Son of Sam, used in the terrifying letters he had been writing to Daily News columnist Jimmy Breslin. Okay. Soon there were 300 cops surrounding Berkowitz's building, and the district attorney had gone on a frantic quest for a search warrant. They waited and waited and waited, no Berkowitz, and no search warrant. Finally, Berkowitz appeared and the cops weren't sure what to do. Then, perhaps with the idea that Berkowitz would kill again, they acted when Berkowitz got into his car. Guns drawn, they tapped on the car window and shouted at Berkowitz to freeze. Berkowitz looked at one of the detectives, Bill Gardella. He had that stupid smile on his face, the detectives was to say later. Like it was all a kid's game. But that could hardly describe what Berkowitz had done. He was put under arrest and the killing finally stopped. It stopped from him. A gruesome letter from a madman. One day in late spring, 1928, a harmless-looking old man with watery blue eyes, wearing a dark blue suit and weighing not more than 135 pounds, showed up at the apartment of Grace and Albert Budd, allegedly to take their son Edward to work on a farm for him. The man said his name was Howard, but it was in fact a name that would come to live in infamy, Albert Fish. Howard had given the impression that he was wealthy, but that was as fake as the name he gave. In reality, Howard/Fish was a homicidal pedophile, perhaps the sickest of the 20th century. While he was at the Budd home, Fish succeeded in conning them into letting him take their daughter, Grace, to a party in the city. That was the last time they ever saw of their daughter. 6 years later, he sent them a gruesome letter detailing little Grace's final hours. On Sunday, June 3, 1928, I called on you at 406 West 15th Street. Grace sat in my lap and kissed me. I made up my mind to eat her. On the pretense of taking her to a party, you said yes, she could go. I took her to an empty house in Westchester. I had already picked out. When we got there, I told her to remain outside. She picked wildflowers. I went upstairs and stripped my clothes off. I knew that if I did not, I would get blood on them. When all was ready, I went to the window and called her. Then I hid in the closet until she was in the room. When she saw me all naked, she began to cry and tried to run downstairs. I grabbed her and said she would tell her mama. First, I stripped her naked. How she did kick, bite, and scratch. I choked her to death, and then cut her in small pieces so I could take my meat to my rooms. Cook and eat it. How sweet and tender her little ass was roasted in the oven. It took me 9 days to eat her entire body. I did not fuck her, though. I could have had. I wished. She died a virgin. What a sick fuck. Jesus. Fish elaborated on the story, told me a confession letter for the detectives. He said that after he killed Grace, he positioned her neck on a 1-gallon paint pail and cut her head off, letting her blood drip into the pail. He said he then tried to drink the warm blood, but he vomited. Then he said he used a knife and a cleaver to cut her in half at the navel and proceeded to cut her up. He said he planned on eating all of her except her head, guts, and skeleton. And it was all true. Later in his trial, it was determined that he ate Grace over the 9-day period. He was in a continual state of sexual excitation, and the memory of eating her would make him masturbate daily. Ugh. Oh, God. What the fuck is wrong with people? This is back in 1928. People were, yeah, sure, take our daughter to a party, strange man. That's fine. Albert Fish's obsessions. In his book, deranged author Harold Schechter lists the obsessions of Albert Fish. There are 15 of them, including undinism, which means sexual preoccupation with one's own urine. Okay.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Seemingly was bestiality. Well, alright. He was into some shit, but not animals. I thought that was one of the 3 things. Well, hurting animals, not necessarily doing the thing. Good God. You guys want a true crime? Here we are. It's true crime time, baby! Q&A. What happened at these locations? Fuck, no, I'm not reading this. That's a stupid Q&A besides. It just lists addresses and don't care. The Boston Strangler tells all. The unraveling of the Boston Strangler case began with a prison snitch, a man named George Nasser. Nasser, who had been committed to Bridgewater State Hospital, notified his attorney, the famed F. Lee Bailey, that one of the inmates was hinting that he was the Boston Strangler and that he wanted to talk to Bailey, who was in the process. Oh yeah, Yeah, I mean, I prefer, nonfiction to fiction any day of the week because reality, a lot of times, is more bizarre than made up shit. And he was a Boston Strangler and that he wanted to talk with Bailey, who was in the process of making a big name for himself. And he had just won a Supreme Court appeal reversing the conviction of Dr. Sam Shepard for killing his wife. Shepard's story was the basis for the movie and television show The Fugitive. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. Classic Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones movie. You haven't seen The Fugitive. It's great. Now, the effects are not as great as, they could have been, but it sufficed. You got the gist of it. Oh my gosh, who? What? Why can't you chat on the stream? What's going on? The man was Albert DeSalvo, a dark-haired, dark-eyed, well-built man who had been the middleweight Army boxing champion. He was 29 years old. Salvo was in the institution for observation for having tied up and sexually assaulted a woman, and he admitted to many other sexual assaults. Bailey was doubtful. Bridgewater was for crazies, but he decided to talk with DeSalvo. The first talk led to a second, and this time Bailey, armed with questions about the crimes to which answers had not been published, talked to DeSalvo again. I'm not sure you would understand that word. Boston Strangler Albert DeSalvo had sex with his wife 6 times a day, 7 days a week. He described her as frigid. I mean, I did. Maybe he meant that she, she just laid there. Because, good God. 6 times a day, 7 days a week? That's ridiculous. My God. Okay. When Bailey repeated DeSalvo's answers to the detective who gave Bailey the questions, the detective was impressed. It wasn't long before Bailey became convinced that DeSalvo was in fact the Boston Strangler. Some of the doctors at the hospital weren't convinced. They thought Nasser had a better psychological profile, and this led to a sort of debate over which one was the strangler. A debate that ended up with DeSalvo agreeing to talk with John Bottomley, a special assistant to the state attorney general, who had taken overall charge of the case. Despite their differences, Bottomley was a child of privilege, while DeSalvo was a product of Boston's mean streets. The two men got along well, and DeSalvo felt comfortable enough to detail his crimes. Oh, wasn't that sweet of him? Yeah. Transcript. Anyone reading the transcripts of what DeSalvo said could hardly doubt that he was, in fact, the Boston Strangler. He described in gruesome detail how he would talk his way into an apartment, posing, for example, as a handyman or plumber, and once inside, he would maneuver behind a woman and choke her with his arm. He finished the job with her stockings or some other article and arranged the body so the legs were spread wide. The bow he tied in the ligature, he said, was just a way of tying. It had no special significance. He'd usually rape the women while she was dying or dead and violently assault her with various objects, among which was a wine bottle and broom handle. When Bottomley started to talk with DeSalvo, he assumed there were 11 victims, but DeSalvo told him of 2 more that Bottomley didn't know about because the MO did not include evidence of strangling. One victim was Mary Brown of 319 Park Avenue in Lawrence, Massachusetts. For some reason, DeSalvo battered her to death with a pipe he found on the premises. Her death occurred on March 9, 1963. The other murder seemed, for some reason, particularly savage and sad, even against all the other savagery DeSalvo had wrought. He talked his way into the apartment of 85-year-old Maury Mullen of 1435 Commonwealth Avenue in Boston. DeSalvo described to Bottomley getting behind the elderly woman and grabbing her around the neck. The next thing he knew, she slumped in his arms, and he knew she was dead. And she was, having expired of a heart attack. He put her on the couch and left and no one suspected that it was a murder. In all his confessions, he never displayed remorse except once, when he spoke of the old lady Mary Mullen, and how he had grabbed her and she died in his arms. DeSalvo wept bitterly. Really? Oh, okay, well, I mean, I guess everybody has a line. But what do you think was going to happen, you big dummy? Background probe. DeSalvo's background was probed, and it was predictably unsavory. He came from a family of 3 boys and 2 girls. The boys were in and out of prison, as was his father, a savage man who beat his wife and his kids openly went with prostitutes. The family was always on home relief, and the boys got into trouble very early. Albert DeSalvo had married a German immigrant named Irmgard. I'm sorry. Anyways, and they had 2 young children, a boy and a girl. Okay. I don't want to read it anymore. I think I'm just going to call it here. Is it too early? You know, let me have another sip and think about that. Because I know we haven't been going long, but this shit's heavy, man. Like, it's rough. At least I think so. Are you guys riveted? Are you hanging by the edge of your seats, hearing me flub my words because reading is hard while you're drinking and your eyesight is failing? Who am I? I was a trim man about 6 feet tall with wavy brown hair, penetrating eyes, and even features. Handsome. My mother bore me out of wedlock, but that wasn't the sticky part. The sticky part was the strong suspicion that my maternal grandfather was my biological father. Ooh, creepy. I was shipped out west and raised as the son of my mother's sister, but I eventually found out who my real mother was, and the truth hurt me greatly. In my 20s, I became active in politics and community events in the Northwest, and I was a volunteer at the Crisis Center in Seattle, where I became friendly with crime writer Ann Rule, who later was to write a book about me called The Stranger Beside Me. Also in my 20s, I started murdering attractive young women who had long, dark hair. I was so charming and devious that in one summer day in Lake Sammamish, Jesus Christ, Sammamish State Park in Washington. Holy shit, I don't know why that was so hard to read. I was able to lure 2 women into my clutches, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and murder them both. In all, I killed more than 40 women. Unconsciously, I wanted to die, so in 1976, after escaping from a jail in Aspen, Colorado, I headed for the state of Florida, one of only 2 states at the time that still had the death penalty, where I kidnapped and killed a 12-year-old girl, and I was subsequently captured, tried, convicted, and executed in Old Sparky in the death house in the prison at Stark, Florida. Anybody? Anybody have a clue as to who this wonderful, charming child of incest is? Or was? Answer? I'll wait another second or 2. Oh, penis. Alright, I'll give you his nickname, the Lady Killer. Yeah? Anybody? No? Nobody? Okay. My name was Ted Bundy. Alright. Okay. Alright, I'm going to read these last 2 pages, then I'm going to call it. Because it's thick. An ordinary person. Below is a questionnaire filled out by serial murderer John Wayne Gacy, who, as mentioned earlier, murdered at least 30 young boys. When he filled it out, he was in prison, awaiting execution for his crimes. His answers will make him seem like a very ordinary person. Misspellings and other errors have been left as is. Certain answers were partly illegible. Okay. Full name, John Wayne Michael Gacy. Date of birth, March 17th, 1942. Age, height, weight, 55, question mark, 9, question mark, 208. Home, Menard, Death Row, Chester, Illinois. Death Row? What? Oh, I guess, yeah, sure. Because he was in Death Row at the time. Sure, oh, okay. I thought that was an actual place. I'm like, Menard, Death Row? Alright, we'll go with that. Marital status, twice divorced. Family, 2 sisters, 5 children. Most treasured honor, 3-time Son of the Year, JC's, 3 different cities. Perfect woman or man. Woman, independent thinker, self-starter, mind of her own. Man, bright, bold, honest, dependable, says what he is thinking. Childhood hero, J.F. Kennedy, R.J. Daly. Current hero, M. Cuomo, Donald Trump. Favorite TV shows, Unsolved Mysteries, National Geographic specials. I mean, to be fair, at that time it was probably my favorite shows too. But never watch Unsolved Mysteries by yourself. Oh yeah, dog showing off her butt. Say that for only Pause Pupper. Favorite movies, Once Upon a Time in America, Goodfellas, 10 Commandments. Favorite song, Send in the Clowns, Amazing Grace. Okay. Favorite singers, Judy Collins, Bob Dylan, Neil Diamond, Roy Orbison, Sha-Na-Na. Okay. Favorite musicians, REO Speedwagon, Elton John, Zemfir. REO Speedwagon's a fucking band, dude. Alright, whatever. You know what? We don't question the killer clown. Hobbies, correspondence, oil painting, study of human interests. Favorite meals, fried chicken, deboned lake perch, drawn in butter, salad, tea. Why you wrote J.W. Gacy? I just don't answer for him. Oh. I don't just answer for him. Okay. Recommended reading, Texas Connection, Question of Doubt. Last book read, Naked Lunch and Wild Boys, William S. Burroughs. Ideal evening, dinner and concert or live show, drinks and a quiet walk by lake. Every January 1st, resolve, correct things that I go year before. Look, I'm just reading what's written here in front of me. This is, okay. Nobody knows. I'm a character who love to tease and joke around. Biggest regret, being so trusting and gullible, taken advantage of. If I were president, I'd make sure of this country had jobs and a place to live before worrying about countries. Okay. I get that. I think we should be isolationists for about 10 years. Figure our shit out before we tell the rest of the world how to live. And if they can't deal with Team America World Police, then so fucking be it. We got enough shit and resources to, wear red hats. My advice to children, be yourself, think positive, respect parents. What I don't like about people, phonies, people who don't keep their word. My biggest fear, dying before I had a chance to clear my name with truth. Pet peeves, people who say things they have no intention in doing. Well, I mean, that falls back into phonies, doesn't it? Superstitions, none of it's for negative people. Friends like me because I'm outspoken and honest, fun-loving, dependable. Behind my back they say, the bastard got it made and he grandiose. People in history I'd like to have met. Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. You don't speak Italian. If I were an animal, I'd be a bear or an eagle. Eagle, excuse me. Personal goals in life. To To see it that my children are provided for. Personal interests, reading, writing, meeting people, classic movies, and music. Favorite color, red. Favorite number, 9. I view myself as a positive thinker, self-starter, open-minded, non-judgmental. What I think of this country, great. If people would work for it instead of against it, pointing fingers at others, the problem takes all races to illegible. Political views, semi-liberal Democrat, that one party doesn't have all winners. Thoughts of crime, too much political corruption and allowed drugs by governed has set off the balance of the judicial reform and punishment. That almost made sense. Thoughts on drugs. Make some legal to avoid crime. Illegible. I consider myself to be conservative, moderate, liberal with values. Gacy wrote in liberal with values here. What I expect from friendships. Light-hearted, fun-loving, dependable, illegible. Religious thinking. My faith is in God. Churches need to work on the family unit. What you're thinking now. Why the hell did I fill this out and who cares what I have to say? Lots of people care. We're reading it right now, several years after your death. Your artistic interests. To please myself first and hope that expression is enjoyable to others. Art as in life is a journey, not a destination. If you don't like it, move on. Just like music to the ear, food to the smell and taste. Okay. Well, on that note, folks, I'm going to pull the plug because maybe I drank that liquor a little bit too fast, but it's catching up to me, and I don't feel like reading any more of this stomach churning stuff. We'll get back to it next week. Okay, fair enough. We're good ways in. We're a little ways in. Boop, boop. Right? Anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'll be back on tomorrow night for Bobby Ross Wednesday, but more than likely it's probably going to be a Gunpla Wednesday where I work on some more Gundam figs. Well, minifigs right now, but anyways, thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys around 8:30, 9 o'clock Central tomorrow. No, that's it. I don't have a signature sign out, so I'm just going to hit the outro and call it. Okay. Night, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
traffic on Chestnut Street, and then we spoke to a witness who was in Rittenhouse. And look at this.